I have here contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Van Sykes? The contract in which Mr. Drebber entered the victim, Mr. Asman. Entered with. Oh gosh, that sounded wrong. Mr. Drebber entered the victim with force. Ooh, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the story-driven gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're hopping back into the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. I am back. I'm happy to be back. I just got over a pretty nasty cold, so that kind of knocked me out for a few days. It took me a little bit longer than usual to get my last video edited, because I just was, a couple of those days I was completely out of it. Like, I didn't want to do any work of any kind. But after a little bit of rest, I got that edited, and now I feel about 90% better. I still have a bit of a lingering cough. I took some medicine before recording, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, otherwise I'm feeling a lot better, so I figured now's a good time to do another recording, because I've been itching to jump back into this case. So I believe we are hopping into a trial, although usually this background here should show us, usually it'll show us either the courtroom or the defendant's antechamber at this point, since we haven't jumped into the trial yet. But we are on the stage. So either I'm wrong and there's another investigation, or maybe we have a scene, you know, here before we go to the actual courtroom. But we'll see. So, sorry, did that box say William and Turner? Was that always there? Will Turner, is he involved? The greatest blacksmith ever, from Port Royal. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a distraction. So last episode, not a ton happened. I mean, some significant things happened, but not a lot. You know, we didn't go investigate a bunch of different areas. It all took place in Drebber's workshop. We had one of those logic and reasoning spectaculars, all to figure out where, you know, where Drebber is, how he escaped. But it turns out he was in the room the whole time. He had locked himself in a safe. He was trying to get in there, and then he heard us coming, or heard us talking in the other room, whatever, and then he jumped in there and locked himself in. So we found him uncomfortably smushed in there. I like him so far. He's really funny. He's really cool. Like, he's still very creepy, but he's very, like, lanky, and as we saw, he's like the freaking Terminator. He's like, it seems like he's like half robot. Now I don't know what that can mean. Maybe we'll find out he's some what do you call him, animatronic? Like, maybe he's not even human. Maybe he's some weird Frankenstein creation of like a, I don't know, a wax figure meets an animatronic, like with gears and stuff that allow him to move. Maybe it's simply just that, I'm sure there's got to be some story there, but maybe it's just as simple as, you know, he's an engineer, so he modified himself. I don't know. But he's cool. I liked him. I liked his entrance a lot. And then the most important thing of note happened at the very end. We found out that that device that Sholmes thought was a gravity machine, anti-gravity device, was indeed a time bomb, as we suspected, because it looks exactly like one. And but he had planted another one, and as you can see here on the menu, the machine blew up, and hopefully there were no casualties. I mean, it is pretty high up on the stage, so unless it's like extremely powerful, hopefully it wasn't powerful enough to reach anybody. But we'll see. So like I said, I think we're going to a trial, but we'll find out momentarily. So let's jump in. Oh, there we go. 24th of October, 9/11 AM, the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Okay, so we are here. I figured, because when I loaded it up, it said trial part 3. So here we go. I think this is the last trial of the case, but I'm not 100% sure. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? Yeah, we didn't see Hairbrain at all last episode. He's like, no, not quite. I hope so, I should be. Even I with nothing. Good morning, my dear fellows. Sorry to interrupt. And by sorry, I mean, screw you. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends at battle at all times. Good to hear it. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I'll see you later then. Bye. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. I like how the music just changed. Like, okay, now down to business, now that nuisance is out of the way. Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again. Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but my dear fellows, I must interject. Aha! I want to make this about me. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction, no, I think we're good. Sorry, I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Sherlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation. I rose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning, a miracle you must agree. Congratulations. Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. I always have to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Oh gosh. Then she, oh gosh, it gets worse. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred. And my face nearly burned off. But that's a story for another time. Oh my, Iris has been busy. Don't say it like that, Suzuto. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. Is she, though? I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Fight, fight, fight. Okay, now who's this? Sorry to cut in. Ah, Gregson. Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow. Why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Dear me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? Okay, we're going to have a courtroom brawl. What? I don't know! Poor Professor. He's so conflicted. Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork? I asked for no such thing. Oh, I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out to the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report. That mass murderers? Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna be involved. For sure. Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? That's the one. He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. And he was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here. Okay, good. I'm gonna read that very carefully. Cause that should have detailed information on everything that happened. Killer's autopsy report. The autopsy report of the mass murderer, Sirius Black. I mean, the professor. Who was tried and found guilty by closed trial 10 years ago. Yeah, so it was a closed trial. Okay, before we continue, let's take a look. This is it. Condemned prisoner. Oh, redacted for confidentiality. Pseudonym, the professor. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Courtney Stevens. Courtney Stevens. So, let me see something. Her name is Courtney Scythe. Is it spelled the same? Because this was 10 years ago, right? I don't know who this Courtney Stevens that's named there. I don't know if she's just the one. Is she the one who just wrote this report? But is there a chance it's spelled the same? Maybe did Courtney maybe get married, so her name changed? I don't know anybody with the last name Stevens. Okay, I thought there'd be more information, but That's interesting. I could be completely wrong. Could just be a coincidence that there's somebody else named Courtney. But, more importantly, I guess it makes sense. They don't even know the name of the actual guy. So yeah, he's definitely involved in this. I do think, I said before that he might, just to reiterate my previous claim, I think the professor rose from, was actually alive, rose from the dead, quote unquote, he woke up, came out of his grave or whatever, and then the witness, whoever that even is, I don't know at this point, the professor killed him and buried him, and then he walked out a free man. That's what I think. If that makes sense. I don't know if I explained it all that clearly. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. Now go away. Us lowly lot at the yard are just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great Detective Sholmes, of course. Well, thank you. Okay, back to business. Well then, Professor Harebrained, this is it. Today, we're going to lay all this to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I just shit myself. I suppose he'll be in there today, will he? I suppose you know about Van Zykes? Oh, him too. Drebber? Yes. We expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. It wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. Counsel and the defendant? The trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way to the courtroom at once. It is time. This is it then. The final chapter of the game. No, not really. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I wonder why. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding. As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Okay, they're hyping this up to be a very important pivotal trial. It's not even the last one. I'm excited. And nervous. 24th of October, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Gentlemen of the jury. Oh, that's right, the apprentice is with us. Specifically, with Van Zykes. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrained, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed? Look at him. The prosecution is ready, my lord. Is he gonna speak or say anything, though? The defense is ready, my lord. I wonder if we're actually gonna see the master apprentice. As promised, Lord Van Zykes has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss. If I may, Lord Van Zykes. What is it? I mean, yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Oh, yes. He's one of my groupies. My apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. Everybody's hyping this case up. Oh, jeez. Did he just cut the cork off? I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure smooth running of the trial. He's going to help me pour my wine and dispose of the glass. And the smooth running of liquid refreshments, by the look of it. The way he holds himself. The way he moves. So dreamy. I mean, it couldn't be anyone else. But he's still suffering from amnesia. So there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but... oh, this is so very hard. It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands that this court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. I'm looking forward to that. Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today. Are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lord. I'm sure we will understand the importance of doing our civic duty. I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick. It is against the magician's code not to mention the law. I forget what voice I gave this guy. I don't think it was that. Any fake scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me. We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence. And, then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? I have no idea what's going on. Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zykes. Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court. Uh-oh. My liege. Yesterday at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case, the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, blew up, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion, affected by an unknown person or persons. We know who it is. But it was what? Explosion? Oh gosh, this is an outrage! Ooh. How are they just finding out about this? Yes, I heard about the grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames. They were obviously trying to hide some evidence. I have here a photographic print of the scene taken in the wake of the explosion. Ooh. It shows what little remains of the machine. Okay, you can still see the opening where the body could have dropped into. Yes, a terrible business. He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That Enoch Drebber. What a bitch. The court will take this print as evidence, counsel. Post-explosion photograph. A photographic print of the experimentation stage after it was completely leveled by a time bomb. The metal floor of the stage has been blown open by the explosion. Okay. I mean, it's just going to be the picture again, but I just want to see if there's anything noticeable. Not really. I mean, obviously they already pointed out the big hole. Maybe the bomb was under there? I don't know if that's important. Or maybe there was something hidden under that they were trying to get rid of. I don't know. Let's keep going. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded by the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. Say what? What you talk about, Zykes? Zykesy? As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. So I guess they didn't get a good chance to actually investigate it before the explosion. Indeed. A most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. Lies! For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine and who ultimately caused its loss of control. Yeah, I mean, if you think he did the first explosion, then it makes sense that they think he did this one.
Objection!
Slam! You tell me, Ryunosuke. As Lord Van Zykes rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Okay, we're already getting to it. A pair. Names, counsel, if you please. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Oh, that's right, okay. Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. I don't know if there's a chance that Asman's not alive. Or is alive. But that would be wild. Like they're both still alive and kicking. Slam. So what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. You tell him, Ryunosuke. Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Lord Van Zykes, summon your first witness, please. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand. I am the Terminator. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation, robot / Terminator. Hard to pin down, I would say. See that black monocle? Yes, why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you too? I was the same feeling myself. Settle down, jurors. Ellipses. Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? A most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. Cleave it from your mind? You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago? The accused super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration? Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? One that I was not involved in any way, shape, or form. I mean it. I'll be the judge of that. It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so an investigation indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it. In precise accordance with blueprints. But that's all. Then the court will be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. What machine? I mean, yes. But first, watch my sexy dance moves. Aren't I amazing? Almost as amazing as this device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What? Come again? Good gracious. Do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Wait, what's he getting at? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
Objection.
I guess he's implying that he thinks it actually is real. Okay, yeah, so, yeah. But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
Objection.
You've established nothing of the sort. We haven't? All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by means of staged trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more. But, there! Shut up, everyone! We've procrastination long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration of the Great Exhibition. Understood. Okay. Let's see. Witness testimony, the kinesis machine. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago. Through Mr. Asman's introduction, he provided me with the blueprints, and I constructed the machine to its precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? He might have. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. I see a couple angles I might be able to attack this with. I think we have it in our court record, the glass, right? And that came from the waxwork, so maybe we have to present, you know, that it was the wax figure that fell through the tower. A body double. That goes without saying, surely. Don't call me Shirley. Haha. Anyway, to give the impression that something has moved, when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But would I be right in saying, you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? Not concretely. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Whatever do you mean? Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber. Which you were not here for. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Just admit it. Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there. That's right, we did find that. Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves. We even stole it. I don't know if we actually have it in our possession, but we have it in our court record. If our hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past. Haha. Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident? Or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science? And nothing that I partook in. Ha! Ha ha ha! Counsel for the defense? Your cross-examination, please? Yes, my lord. This guy certainly isn't guilty as shit. Cross-examination. Let's do it. The kinesis machine. So let's read through it again. Let's see, I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. Or Asman's. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to its precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Let's press that.
Hold it!
Hold it! Of course, that's it! Mr. Asman was a twin!
Objection!
Solved it! Shut up, you idiot. Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. I knew that. Psh, shut up. No, I heard you before. But the thread of hope hadn't quite left me. Hope! I had to hold on to any hope I had. The demonstration could have been a trick, if there was somebody who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled that out as a possibility. It is beyond question that the victim himself, Mr. Asman, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to that fact. So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Asman then. Worth a try. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, no, nothing. You onto something, I have a feeling. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim was playing on my mind. But we don't have evidence specifically about that, though. Like, we got this waxwork head. But we can't see what it looks like. Again, we do have this. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower.
Hold it!
Hold it, sir! It crashed headfirst, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes. Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day? Ooh, look at me go. Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet, another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. I do not recognize it. Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes. Or the birdcage plummeting headfirst into the tower. What a surprise. I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? That's right, that was a detail we heard. How would you have come by that information? You weren't there. Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver, believed to belong to the defendant. And he had broken vertebrae as a result of a fall from a considerable height. Is there some weird chance that, like... does that make sense? Like... did he, like, break his, like, neck, and did they, like... I don't know if that makes sense. Could they have, like, replaced his real head with, like, a wax figurehead? That would be weird. Like, imagine if the head that's in the metal casing is, like, an actual severed head of the real Mr. Asman, and maybe the head that they found on Mr. Asman was, I mean, that makes no sense. The detectives and everything would be able to tell that that's not really his head. Correct, my learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Sadly not. Forensic science has not yet had a level where such things can be determined. Maybe someday. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment. And since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. I suppose that's hard to deny. A terrible accident, grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. I'm not really sure. Part of me feels like I gotta go through my evidence again. See if there's something I'm missing. I haven't looked at this in a while. That's to do with Van Zykes and the Apprentice. And the Lost Cat. I can't believe I forgot about that. We were just talking about the murder itself. Like I said, they don't know which was the actual cause of death. The broken neck or the stab. Oh, could this maybe help us? Oh, wait a minute. Causing damage to its base. And they said he fell head first. The birdcage... Yes, that's gotta be it, right? Because they're saying the birdcage appeared and crashed head first, but it was the base that was damaged. I'm gonna go with that. Hopefully I'm not overstepping my bounds. Let's try it.
Objection!
Yes! Objection! Feels so good when you get it right on the first try. We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected surely. But the point is, where it was damaged. I agree, the damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is where it was damaged. The location of that damage. Uh-oh. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. Oh, we haven't seen that look yet. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. Good job, Judge. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two birdcages in play that day. Which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of staged trickery. Gah! How dare you! Okay. Good stuff. Good gracious! Explain yourself, witness! Well, if we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower. Objection! Exactly. But multiple witness reports claim it fell head first. You just said so. Or the witness himself said so. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable. But there's lots of them. But the victim's neck was broken. Objection! Exactly. He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. Wherever he fell, it is unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Oh. Cat. I have something to say. A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. He wasn't quiet for long. I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Zykes. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his. Yeah. If you're going to establish this deception, do it right. Sorry? I feel like that's the undertone here. Ah yes, and there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. Do enlighten me. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? It seems to me that the course examination had better continue to resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth. Of course. We must treat the matter scientifically, after all. Ah, I nearly had him there. Oh yeah, I am doing the robot. Get it? Because I am a robot. Okay. So the kinesis clearly took place, because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Didn't we already establish that it could have fallen from a balloon? Let me just press him on this. Hold it! Hold it. What do you mean? Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience. Yes, There are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Asman on the experimentation stage, that's true. And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. Thank you, my apprentice. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. That difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the cage could have fallen that distance, if it didn't drop out of the sky. Ergo, the victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower. A trenchant scientific analysis. Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible. Oh yes, haha. It's all very well thought out. By me. Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean. Irritatingly, yes. Ooh boy. So there's nowhere else? So I'm a little bit confused. So they're saying other than the balloon? I definitely don't think we have anything else that other than the balloon. This is the machine itself. Could this opening have been 30 feet? Oh, maybe that's what they're getting at. Oh, yeah. So both bird cages fell 30 feet. One from the balloon, and then this one through there? The only thing is, I just don't know if I missed... That makes sense, though, right? I am gonna try it. Am I on the right thing? I'm gonna give it a shot. Unless I'm just completely misunderstanding what they're getting at. Let's try it.
Objection.
And I am very wrong. The defense would have to object to that last statement, my lord. And I would have to overrule your objection, counsel. The defense would have to accept the penalty given. Glad to hear it. And you would also have to think again, I almost feel like pressing him on this again. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm so confused. Didn't we already establish that it was the balloon? That's what I'm confused about. When you press him on this, he even brought up the balloon. That the balloon exploded 60 feet in the air. Yeah. So I'm a little bit confused. Like, am I supposed to just present the balloon again? Is that what they're getting at? Like, the picture of the balloon? Are we going back to that and just saying...
Objection.
No. Okay, I feel dumb. I was so happy about the last one getting it right away. There might be something I'm missing, but let's just press him on things again.
Hold it.
Start from the beginning. Maybe there's a piece of evidence I haven't gotten yet. So you already acquainted with Mr. Asman himself? Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers. That is all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. I couldn't care less. As long as people pay their bills, I will take up my tools and construct what they ask for. No questions asked. So why did Mr. Asman approach you in particular then? Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering. I am the master. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Oh, burn. You are correct. Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the Kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Harebrained certainly has a mind like no other.
Hold it!
It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic. However, the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think. It's a possibility that we have to explore. Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come. So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the Kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear. I must have planned all this from the outset. But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick. Okay. Sorry I'm not talking much, it's like while I'm pressing him, I'm trying to think of... I know I have one more thing to press. We have this, but that's part of the balloon. I mean, this is just like a tiny little crossbow. There was a thought that crossed my mind that, like, maybe it wasn't necessarily the crossbow blowing up the balloon and he was inside. That, like, he shot the crossbow and, like, the cage was attached to, like, a rope or something and was flown up that way. But that would have to have been huge and very heavy. I don't know if that makes sense. We do have this. I don't know if that helps me. We already tried that. We already used that. That has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, we know it wasn't that. Ooh, I'm so confused. Okay, let's go to this last thing.
Hold it!
So you understood the science, did you? Not at all. Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I am given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. True. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? Yeah, that kind of baffles me, too. I feel like that would be part of it. Well, you're practicing law without, oh gosh, without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you? A very good point. That was actually a witty comeback. Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. Gosh, it's such a weenie. The point is the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. He's certainly very sure of himself. Come on, give me some good hint here. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other. But if we're not able to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Harebrained's innocence. Both Mr. Asman and this man on the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivete and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zyke's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? I'm gonna murder the man. Oh boy. I think this is definitely what we gotta present something to. I just don't know. I mean, the crystal tower itself? We were talking about how it fell into the crystal tower, but obviously the crystal tower itself is ridiculously tall. I mean, this shows how tall the crystal tower is compared to the device. Obviously, this would be another way to just say the balloon, you know, if I present the cloth. And then there's my wacky idea with this, but there's no way that's it. Should I try just presenting this?
Objection!
Yes! Okay, I think I might be right. The tower itself. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. Oh, crap. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in the mid-air before falling down into the crystal tower. Dead. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No. Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel. Yes, my lord. Of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring. The same diagram. The alternative location for which the birdcage could have possibly have fallen, the requisite 30 feet. So, I was just saying the crystal tower itself. If it's not that, then we're talking about the device maybe, and maybe I'm right about the picture. Again, now I'm completely second guessing myself again. It's one or the other. I'm gonna try the crystal tower itself. It's not this weird shaped building in the background. I'm gonna try it. I mean, there were balloons here, but we already established it's not the balloons, right? So,
Take that!
am I right? If it had fallen from here, the birdcage would have plummeted the same 30-foot distance.
Objection!
I don't know if I'm right. If that's my learned friend's claim, I suggest he demonstrates for the court, personally. God damn it. And you may consider this a parting gift, counsel. I feel like I've just hit the deck from 30 feet up anyway now. Don't give me recourse to make the next fall from 60 feet up, You will indicate the place to which you are referring, the same diagram, you idiot. So I'm feeling it might be the device itself then, because it would have fallen from the trapdoor here down here. I'm still not sure if this is right, but if this is right, I want to say for the record that this was my very first guess. If you remember, the very first thing I presented during that, during that section of the testimony was the picture. Because I thought that would prove that there was a hole that he could have fallen down into. But then I started second guessing myself, so I'm going to try it. I could be wrong. I don't even know where else it would be if not here. The tower, the device itself. If it had fallen from here. Oh, no.
Objection!
Okay, I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. No, I'm kidding. Am I an idiot? Where could it have been then? We're not saying the balloon. We already know it's had to do with the balloon. I'm so confused. Nope.
Objection.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this so much. There literally aren't that many. There aren't that many options, are there? I doubt it's that balloon then. And the alternate location which the birdcage could have possibly have fallen. Do I have to pick like I picked down here? Do I have to choose like in here maybe? Like here?
Take that.
Oh come on. Okay, I don't feel so bad. I didn't know I had to pick the exact location on the tower. I'm like, the tower. Okay. I should have known better that it's very finicky. The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, counsel! Okay. So I had it right from the start. It was just a rocky road getting there. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. So yeah, the floor opened up and the tower fell there, and that's probably where he broke his neck. I don't know if he was stabbed at that point. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's at about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. Say what? When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. Slam! At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. So two separate bird cages that fell at the exact same time. Say what? Ah. What the doodly do? Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one bird cage, but two.
Objection.
Get him, Ryunosuke, get him! My learned friend, there's no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Yes, we do. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photograph print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. The one that I tried to present earlier, but you would not take, so I'll just do it myself. Exactly, we see clearly there that it has a hole. Good lord, the metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone. Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Dun dun dun. Let's do it. Mr. Drebber? What do you want? It was you who built the kinesis machine. Which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference. Because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asmon's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Admit it. Oh god, he's already freaking out. Grrr. Wow! There we go. He's starting to lose it. Mr. Cool is beginning to freak. You can't tell me that's not Cosima. Only Cosima would be that skilled with a blade. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions. Oh. The prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly, but surely. Bring it on, Zykesy. What? Your argument fails to hold water. On 2 counts. Let's hear it. Two? Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of the staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. Okay. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
Objection!
Liar! Nah, I'm sure he's telling the truth. But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. We just proved that's not the case. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. I mean, it's true. The actual body would have had to appear at some point in the tower. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. That is true. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? What's that again? Do I have to think of everything myself? Do I have to do my job? I have here contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Van Sykes? The contract in which Mr. Drebber entered the victim, Mr. Asman. Entered with? Oh gosh, that sounded wrong. Mr. Drebber entered the victim with force. Mr. Asman, it reads. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. 30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions. That's right. I think they mentioned that before. But there was one very important provision bolted into that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Ah. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Okay, that's hard to refute. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, you are an idiot. The possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil. Why does this happen to me? Wah! Oh, look at me. It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Sykes, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. Here it is. Drebber's contract. The contract between Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber detailing the terms by which they would profit from the kinesis experiment. Oh, Ryunosuke is down and out. It's true. Let's take a closer look at this. Terms of investment. We're getting lots of evidence for this case. The investor, Mr. Odie Asman, hereby enters into contract with the provider, excuse me, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. It's both signed by them. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations, and he may only uphold his right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Asman and Drebber. And one is not. I wonder if there's something weird about the what you would call it, the signatures. I don't know. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the crystal tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. Like I said, is there some way that maybe Mr. Asman is still alive? I don't know how. Unless there's some trick with the actual dead body they found. There's one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. I don't know why I was talking in a robot voice with her. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So maybe 2 bodies. Ah! So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too. Let's do this! I love having a cheerleader. Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. I am victorious. You will all die. I reign supreme. Well, I must say, I am a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution counter has set the record straight, I think. Hey, that's Chiaki's catchphrase. It's impossible that I am the culprit.
Objection!
Lies, sir! Who could that have been? Oh, it was Ryunosuke! Oh my gosh! At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been two. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. Do go on. Or actually, on second thought, shut up. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Exactly. Oh, the culprit. So you think that there were two culprits? Or more than, or are you just saying more than meets the eye? Get to the point, you imbecile. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. Yeah, really, for real though. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting? He had an accomplice. Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
And he's right there. No, I'm kidding. I don't know who we're talking about. An accomplice now? Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. There's no going back. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Well, counsel? Do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? I guess so. What do I do here? At the moment, this is little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice or even if he really is the culprit here. He definitely is. Go ahead. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear. As a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice? Or not? Oh gosh. We have so many people to choose from. I mean, technically it could be him if Drebber was involved with the machine part of the deception. Then Mr. Balthazar Loon here could be involved with the balloon part of the deception. I also mentioned at one point tough spells could be, and that's because if there's a waxwork involved in the deception, like maybe one of the other bodies was a wax figure, I still think that's very probable. In fact, it would make sense now, that's the one that fell from the balloon. It could be her, maybe it wasn't actually stolen like I said. Ugh. There's a lot of options, let's put it that way. And then, like I said, is there any chance that Asman is alive? I'm starting to think that can't be the case. Those are my two main suspects. I mean, there's Courtney Scythe, would she have anything to do with it? There's no evidence of that. These two make the most sense, if I think about it. I'm sure we have to name the accomplice. I'm sure we're not supposed to back down here. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. Okay, he did just say something interesting. According to the coroner's report, that's not possible. Which one is that? Can I look at that again? That's the autopsy report you're talking about? So is there a chance that Courtney, I'm assuming she wrote this report, that Courtney, fudged it? I don't know if that's what he's getting at. Oh, I'm so confused. Slap those cheeks, you're gonna need it. But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel? Okay, that was a big hint. I think he might be... Sorry, let me read that again. So name the accomplice. The defense is ready to name his accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Okay. Right. And then like I said, yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But then you're saying that inconsistency itself is a clue. You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please? Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Oh, gosh. I did save, so... Courtney Scythe seems like... I don't know, these two have not been all that present. Not that that means they couldn't be involved. I'm gonna... It's him! I really don't think it's the masked man, even though he is suspicious, right? Who? Now, if he fell... Like, if he fell... No, that wouldn't make sense. I'm so confused. So I have so many things running through my mind, like... I don't think Odie Asmund is somehow still alive. That would be ridiculous. I'm gonna go with Courtney Scythe first, only because they established that the coroner report contradicts what we know about the case. And then Ryunosuke said that in and of itself is a clue. So like I said, it could be that she herself messed with the report to hide what really happened. I also just could see it. I could totally see her being involved. Let's try it.
Take that!
Take that! Am I right? The name of the person in question is... Come on. What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming... Oh! It might be her! After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. You just said her, so... I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure we'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I think I'm on the right track. Ooh. I was nervous. Thank you, Miss Suzuto. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel, now. Do it. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe. You idiot, that's wrong! My health bar just pops up and all... He blows up both remaining health pieces. You fail, bye. No, we got her. What? What the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe? The head of the forensic investigation team, and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim. Ooh. We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Oh! Right, so she could have immediately sealed off and then switched things around. Ah! Okay. That's an angle I maybe should have considered. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team, of course. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. You biatch. It's essential that the court determine exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. What's going on? Oh my gosh. She's too hot to be a criminal. You've got a nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud. I didn't mean to.
I know the women very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal?
My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than in the East End at night. I mean, you're probably right. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. Okay? A grave problem? Oh my word! Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Again, a wax figure.
Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body.
And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone, even remotely resembling the victim, have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. That's true. Okay, this part I think I was right about. If my argument is that there were two bird cages, then there must have also been one person inside each. I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Okay, yeah, I don't think we have... Let me just double check. I don't think we have evidence. I mean, we have this waxwork head. But we don't know what it looks like or anything. Okay, so I think we're gonna name someone, and I guess we're gonna name Miss Tutspell. Because he's specifically asking, what can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? I don't think we're naming someone who was the body double, we're just naming someone who can help us, and we know Madame Tutspell had a wax figure stolen. Very well, the defense will address my learned friend's concerns. By revealing the identity of the person who acted... No, that's not what I meant! By revealing the identity of the person who acted as Mr. Asman's body double. Be my guest. Give us a name. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage. I mean, there's no way it's a person, right? There's no other dead nah. From 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? I mean, it could be this. Oh, I just realized it could be this. It's either the head or the glass. Because it even says that it comes from the Professor Waxwork. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna load. Just because I know I'm off. So like I said, this little comment from Ryunosuke misled me. So, I'm gonna present evidence then. Very well, the defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double.
Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would have only seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! Got it! The body double inside the second birdcage was... See, again, the way he's wording it, we're supposed to... The body double inside the second birdcage was... It doesn't make sense that I'm saying was the piece of glass, so maybe I'm supposed to present the head? The wording is what I'm getting caught up on. Because this is specific evidence that points to it being the professor. I'm going to try the head.
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower.
Yes, Counsel? According to a somewhat elaborate version of events.
And that body double inside the second birdcage was in fact... Come on. It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself and come out with it. And hopefully you don't take damage. Thank you, Miss Suzuto. I needed that. Let's do it. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Why is it in the courtroom? Was it just there the entire trial? Are we just now bringing it up?
Good gracious, I didn't even see that there.
Huh. Oh no, he's coming to get us! He's gonna kill us all! It's like that old police officer just takes out a gun and shoots the heck out of him. I don't know what's going on anymore. Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Yes? Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. That was a weenie slap. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime, and now you've moved on to indicting Waxworks? Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? We have evidence. It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What do you mean? We do have evidence, though. The glass. What? Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspel's.
Did you say abducted?
Yeah, it definitely was him. And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Without the head, then the timing.
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
No. I can explain. At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asman. Gah! We got you now.
Objection!
Oh, never mind. We're screwed. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? Is he daft? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist? That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience? Is he allowed to directly appeal to the jury like this? Serious question, I actually don't know. And that to effect the deception, use a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide? They're gonna decide I'm full of crap, and I'm gonna have to do one of those jury thingies. Wait! Shut up! Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. Let me explain. My lord! Who's that? I need to speak, if you please. I haven't spoken all case. Actually, he did, but whatever.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Oh, gosh.
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty.
Of course.
Guilty.
Shut up, all of you.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
You all suck.
Kill me.
You puppets. Can you not think for yourselves?
So as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was gonna happen. It has to happen at least once per case. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way. I'm quite sure. Uncover some new truths and some new friends along the way. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual, and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very well. In that case, I ask you now to start clearly for your present to hear. For all present to hear, I mean. The grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime in which he is charged.
Here we go. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. And with that, guys, I think we're going to end this here for now. It is getting good, so a bit rocky at the start of the trial, I'll admit. But I will reiterate, I was on the right idea. I knew what I was trying to say overall. But it might just be me. I don't want to blame the game. But some of the wordings throw me off at times when they're like hinting, like when they're presenting the question of like they have to present the evidence to whatever, if that makes sense. But overall, I feel good. I feel good. Like I feel like I'm slowly starting to understand things, and like I was right about this. The role of the waxwork figure and stuff. So I feel like I'm not just completely like lost. Like I'm following what's going on, and again, it's getting better and better. I'm sure somewhere in here we're gonna have to use that glass, the glass shard. This one here, because we found that in the waxwork, so I'm sure that's gonna come in somewhere. But for now, my voice is starting to get a little bit, my cough is getting more intense, so this seems like a good place to wrap up anyhow. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys. Leave a comment down below if you're enjoying the Let's Play. Hit the like button and the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, share the video on the channel with your friends, family, and loved ones. I really appreciate you guys. I can't say it enough, and I'll see you next time. So take care, and bye-bye.